tell me, what can we learn from history? You're the one who can connect past and the future. What can we learn from that?
Okay, so I've got, I think, 12 slides lined up together from the past to today. And one of the first ones to start with, let's see.
Oh,
should it be this one or the other one? I think this one. Yeah, there we go. First shares. Of course, you can't discuss initial coin offerings without having a look at first shares. The Netherlands were the place where we had the first share. To give you a feeling how the evolution of shares occurred, in essence, around 1600, the general trade of the Netherlands was getting corn from up in Germany and traveling also with one ship. In 1 year time, you would send out a ship up north, get grain, you would send it out south to France and get wine, get salt, and you'd use this to do a enterprise trade, effectively, one leg over there, one leg over there. And if you had a boat as a merchant, you would never own your own boat. You'd slice it up in 16 shares with other merchants. And those merchants would do exactly the same. So the essence of trading in medieval times here in the Netherlands is 1 year's trade. At the end of the year, you sit in a bar and you say, okay, what did we make? 16 ships, 16 shares. And then you end up and do the same thing in the next year. Now, we got into war with Spain. We wanted to go to Indonesia, but it takes a longer time. So you need more money to equip ships. There were some small companies doing this already, and the Dutch Prime Minister said, come on, we're going to make a huge corporation. We call it the East India Company. We'll send out money, but we need money for that. So they said, we're going to issue shares. It's for 10 years' time. Give us your money. And people did want to give money, because it would earn you quite something. But putting your money somewhere for 10 years, would you do that?
Yeah. No,
you want to trade?
So that's how the shares come up.
That's where we start.
This is the whole panel thing. So, I mean, I know that you're thinking... Yeah, so just get to the clue, because we have 3 minutes to do the history.
All right. Yeah. So, there we go. Then we're rushing. So that's where the share came from. It was no use unless you could trade it. So they said, okay, we're going to trade shares. There are discussions about, should we have a Fed coin, a government-backed currency? The answer, yes, it was there already in 1609, but it was called the Amsterdam Exchange Bank. So we had experience, it was a good thing.
So we did that too?
We had a Tulip mania, of course.
Yeah, the Tulip mania. How long did that actually last, that whole Tulip mania? How many years?
Well, you could say the run-up was from 1600 to 1634, with the introduction of the tulip in the Netherlands, and then the hype started from 34 until 37.
Okay, 3 years.
So 3 years.
How many people were involved?
Actually, at that point in time, it was 1% owning or being involved, rather than 3% now.
Yeah.
And there was a moment where it fueled, and that was the moment that futures were introduced.
Ah, the futures.
So we have some similarities.
It was only a very small period that it really became crazy. And that was
small
like
period.
3 months or 6 months.
Yes, and put this in the context of those days, the plague was going around. So people got inheritances, got money. They didn't know whether they were going to be dead next day. So the risk-taking might have been different in those days than right now. We had around 70-20, a whole set of companies setting up, like companies of countries that didn't exist, but you could buy bonds and stock and shares. That led to the naming of wind trade. There's wind trade shares that are actually nothing. The only remaining share is the ASR insurance company. That's the only remaining share.
So basically shares which were nothing, which were not backed by anything, were already
everyone going for it, and then finding out it doesn't work. So in the Kalverstraat, main shopping street, there was a big riot. There was a play by Pieter Langendijk, sort of like the Verleiders. Everyone got annoyed, angry, and they wanted to...
this is the BitConnect of...
sort of the BitConnect crowd.
We have that too, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. Just a pointer to make sure, banks are only here for a very short period of time. You think banks were always there. They weren't. We did lots of trade and finance without banks. So keep that in mind.
There's a lot of people predicting that we don't need the banks in their current form.
So that's possible. They were only here for a short time. So then, even sort of 110 years ago, the same mechanism, electric tram company. Yeah, great shares. Great shares. Let's buy it. And the guy here says, well, the prospectus doesn't tell you anything, but nevertheless, it will be most likely oversubscribed because
the white paper.
Yeah, it sounds nice, it looks nice, so the public is really enjoys this.
Real information doesn't count.
No.
Just more, is it popular?
Everyone likes it.
Do you have a
so just subscribe,
football player?
go in.
You have a,
So those are mechanisms that we see. This is a reminder that a lot of regulation in the financial markets and stock markets were initially self-regulation. So if we're thinking about this area, there's no harm in self-regulation. It's a logical path, even from a historic perspective.
Very cool.
Of course, we have DigiCash.
DigiCash.
David Chow being the one developing the first electronic cash on the internet.
Why did he fail? Technically or politically or social?
He was a complex personality.
Good.
He had a bright mind, and he didn't want to give his baby away.
Okay.
So that's sort of
open source was not on his agenda yet.
No, no. So that's DigiCash, of course. And then I think it would be good to have a look at the regular market and see what happened there. I mean, we can look at cryptocurrency and say, well, it's all fake news, but we've had some other fake news in
the IPO of the .com was 6 trillion, or 16 billion or 6 trillion. I mean, one of the two. But I mean, like 10 times or 20 times bigger in a much smaller world.
Funny stuff has been happening in the regular financial world as well. So we could care about cryptocurrency, but this happens also in the regular world. Yeah. You can invest in trees, in ships, and
yesterday we had Ron, who was probably watching, but Ron was the person who helped Nina Brink to go to the market. He worked for the bank, for Amsterdam.
And of course, I can't. Why not iSafe? We were all in a moment like, well, we're going to earn this extra percentage.
And they paid all the money back.
They paid all the money back. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So these are the reminders. We are maybe in a situation where we just want to make money so badly that we'll go for anything. In this case, iSafe, or it could be cryptocurrency, who knows?
Yesterday with Schieninga, who is doing a 10 million ICO, who did the DMA, and he said, hey, we paid everybody back. We went bankrupt. We paid everybody back, and there's $1 billion. There's $1 billion left. So it is actually.
So he said.
He said I was completely innocent.
Yeah. Sure. Okay. A reminder: we saw this crowd kicking in the doors at the Kalverstraat, and Occupy is a reflection of.
And also how completely unequal the society has become.
So you're bound to get a return, and of course, Bitcoin is an example of that. We had the Bitcoin conference, which was historic, and the letters ended up in the garden of Bitonic. Okay. I found them later, so I figured that was.
We had, and actually, the people who know of the top 10 programmers who work on Bitcoin, number 1 lives in Eindhoven, van der Laan, and there's a second Dutch person. So there's 10 people doing all the major program for Bitcoin, and 2 of them are Dutch.
So then we end up in the blockchain era and the Bitcoin area. We see the Dutch Central Bank experimenting. We see our securities regulator warning. And of course we end up in the hearing last week in Parliament where there's this new discussion. Should we regulate more? Because one of the interesting things yesterday is that it's clear that AFM and DNB already apply rules to everyone. So.
Thank you very much, Simon. And here we are today. And Simon is here, so please, if you have the breaks, talk to him, because he has so much story. I'm really sorry to cut you short. You really took half of the panel time with this break. Thank you very much, Simon. Okay.